This first conic is a circle. I know that it's a circle because our x squared and our y squared terms have the same coefficient. If those and they're both positive. If those coefficients were different, and both positive, we would know this is an ellipse. If those coefficients were, if one was negative and one was positive, we would know this is a hyperbola. And if we only had one squared term, this would be a parabola. But this is a circle. At this point, what I want to do is, I know I'm going to have to complete the square, and I think you guys are experts at completing the square, but just in case it's been a while, here's a little review. The first thing I like to do is group together my x's and y's. So I'm going to put my x terms together. And my y terms together. If I had a constant, I would move it to the other side, but we don't have any constants in this problem. Then I'm going to factor. Here I'm going to factor out a 2 in my first two terms here. I'm going to leave a gap there because I know I want to complete the square. Same thing over here with my y's. So I need to complete the square. I have coefficients of 1, and that's why we factored out those 2's. We want coefficients of 1 there in front of our squared terms. So I need to fill in these blanks. The thing that's the easiest to forget is that whatever I'm adding to the one side of the equation, I have to add to the other. But it's not just that blank that we're adding to the other side of the equation. In both of these cases, it's 2 times that blank. So it's kind of a good practice to do something like this if you use a box or a blank, so that you remember to multiply by 2 there. So here our equation for completing the square is our middle term squared our middle term, not our middle term squared, it's our middle term divided by 2 squared. So b divided by 2 squared. That's what's going to go in that blank or box or whatever you put there every time. So b divided by 2 squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Same thing here. And those go in our other blanks as well. You could also write that here as negative 2 squared, and you could write that over here as 2 squared. Just depends on how you like your process. Either way is fine. I don't care how you rate that. That lets us factor really easily. This first one becomes x minus 2 squared. The x term comes from the square root of x squared. The negative 2 comes from the square root of that positive 4 there. On the other side here, or with our y's, we have y plus 2 squared. And then on the other side of our equation, we have 8 plus 8, which is 16. In order to graph this, we need to get rid of all of these 2's, so we're going to divide everything by 2. And that gives us x minus 2 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 8. So the center of our circle is 2, negative 2. Remember, when you take the opposite. Since we have a negative 2 with the x, that's 2. Positive 2 with the y, that's negative 2. And then the radius is the square root of 8. And when you're graphing that, you'll have to approximate. That's about 2.8. Just approximate and do the best you can if you're not given a coordinate plane that has exactly what you need. But that's a little review of Complete the Square and how to work with a circle.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.